and welcome to episode 102 of the Southampton Delivery Podcast, brought to you, of course, by the Smooth Jazz Radio Hour Christmas edition. If I'm completely honest, I don't really like Christmas music, but it is Christmas, so I figure it's appropriate, and my kids are enjoying it, although my son is currently into this Christmas trap music that all the kids apparently like, or maybe it's just him, I'm not sure. But anyway, welcome to the show. I hope that you are having a good Christmas. If you're listening after Christmas, I hope that you enjoyed some time with your family. Maybe that is continuing onto Boxing Day or in the coming days after that. However you're doing this, I hope that it's been an enjoyable time. I know that it is a difficult time for a lot of people, and my family is no different. We have anniversaries of some events in our family that are not maybe the happiest at this time, but we take this time now to be together, and I hope that you're around and surrounded by people that you both enjoy and love, and I hope that the team has brought you some joy as well. And we're in a much different place than we were last season at this time. As small of a role as football actually plays in life, it can do a lot to lift your spirits when other things are seeming down, and it can also bring you down a little bit. But this year, we are on the good side of that under new manager Ralph Hasenhüttl. And here to talk to me about all of that is Tom Mason, who writes for Read Southampton and a number of other outlets. We'll talk about the local teams that he covers, his role at university, writing for Read Southampton, and just kind of being a fan, and the Huddersfield game, of course, as well. Follow Tom on social media. You can do that on Twitter at Tom_Mason18. He's also on Instagram at TMaso19. The links to those, of course, are in the show notes. But let's get straight to the interview. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. Talk to you later. So we'd like to welcome to the Southampton Delivery Podcast, Tom Mason. Tom is a journalist, a student. He writes for Read Southampton. You can find him on Twitter at Tom_Mason18. And here to join me on the day before Christmas Eve. You'll hear this Christmas Day. But Tom, welcome to the show, and thanks for doing this.
Hello, that's all right. Thanks for having me on, Matt.
Oh, no, my pleasure, man. First off, before we get started, I just want to say, I'm sorry you were ill. Otherwise, you would have been able to see and witness the Southampton's domination, I would call it, of Huddersfield. Or maybe that's too strong, but I hope you're feeling better. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you about the match and about everything else. Yeah,
I'm a bit better now, thanks. But it's just a bit frustrating Saints don't win away very often, so it's a bit frustrating to miss out on that. But as long as the team's winning, I'm happy.
The team doesn't win, period, very often, so it's all right.
Yeah, exactly. To miss an away games.
But it's okay. I mean, I am, hopefully yesterday made you feel a little bit better, or maybe not because you didn't get to necessarily see it. But we're going to dive straight into this because it's early. But we all have stuff to do because it is a busy time of the season. So I appreciate you taking some time. But let's just start with you kind of growing up. And did you grow up in the Southampton area, or how did you become a fan of the team to begin with?
Yeah, so my dad and granddad have always supported Saints. So I sort of came through that. I live within sort of half an hour of the ground in the New Forest. Recently I've been going to a lot more away games as well, but that wasn't ever really a thing. It was more just home games. I've been a season ticket holder since I was 7, so that's 14 years now. So that's how it all started, really.
14 years of season tickets. I mean, you've been there through all the good stuff and all of the stuff that wasn't, maybe so good in recent seasons. So, your dad and everybody else still attend matches and still do all that stuff?
Yeah, they all go to matches, mainly like home games though. I go to a lot of away games. I go to not quite all of them, but majority of them, so maybe like 3/4 of them.
All right.
So yeah, but they go to most of them at home.
Where has your season ticket been? Has it been in the same section kind of the whole time, or have you moved around the ground at all?
Yeah, well, I started off in the Itchen stand, which is like near where the players' sort of dugout is. Then I moved towards the family stand, sort of I think the year we got promoted back to the Premier League in 2012. And then this season, actually, we've moved again towards back in the Itchen, near the sort of away fans.
And which area of the park do you prefer?
I prefer where we are now because you get more of an atmosphere, you feel more involved. It's nice being in the family stand, but you can't really build an atmosphere, or you can't really feel like you're in the game. Sort of, you get what I'm saying? It just feels more part of it if you're where I am now.
I mean, and have you seen anything about this proposal to move the away fans and kind of reconfigure things? Have you seen that going around Twitter through the Saints voice panel?
Yeah, I think that's something that should happen, really. The away fans have got a massive advantage. I remember a few years ago, I think it was Arsenal came down for a cup game. They brought like 5,000 or 6,000 down there, the whole of the northern end, and they just created such a big atmosphere, which is something which really frustrated me because it's something which Saints fans could have had, but Saints just seem to let it go and seem to let them have the best area. In my opinion, that is the best area of the ground to create an atmosphere. So to move them to, say, another part of the ground further away, like whenever you go to have a ground, say like Newcastle, Sunderland, you're up in the gods. So like, why don't we do that? We haven't got that sort of stadium, but why don't we do that? Something similar, put them away in an area which isn't that good. That's what I think.
I totally understand. I remember when everybody went away to Newcastle, and people said basically you couldn't see the pitch. Like you're so far away, you're so high up that it doesn't. Yeah. And you're kind of out of sight, out of mind. I think it doesn't matter how loud you are, you're going to be difficult to be heard at that point. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think maybe for away fans it should be maybe it's a nice day out coming down to Southampton, but maybe we make it a little harder on them to kind of influence the game.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've seen different suggestions of where it could be in the ground, but I just think giving them that part of the ground in the northern stand where they are currently just gives them a big advantage. Obviously, St. Mary's has been a bit of a not a great atmosphere in the last few years, but last weekend for the Arsenal game, you could barely hear the Arsenal fans for most of the game, like just because of how much of an impact Ralph's had on the team, and that hasn't been the case for a while. But having Saints fans in that whole section in games to come or years to come would have a massive impact on the team, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you were kind of growing up, obviously you were going to matches and stuff with your dad and your grandfather, but like, did sports play a big role in your life growing up? Did you play sports, or did you guys watch other things? Did you go cricket or rugby or anything like that? Yeah,
I've never really been into rugby that much, but cricket's been a massive part of my life. I've played it, I think, since I was like 8 or 9, playing for a local club in Hampshire. And I still play from now on Saturday afternoons and Sundays and Tuesdays. And I played football as well. I played in the local Southampton Tyro League, which people who listen to this will probably know about. Played for a team called Windsor. And I just played football and cricket mainly. Obviously watched it on TV and stuff. And just always been a massive sports fan.
I have no idea how cricket works, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I have Richard Brereton will send me a cutout of the newspaper or something,
Yeah.
And I will basically read it. I can read it 1,000 times. I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
But it's fine. And now I remember at one point taking a girlfriend that I had to a baseball game, and she had never seen baseball before, and I've like played baseball my entire life. And I just remember like trying to talk to her and explain to her like what's going on. And now I know how she felt, because Brereton was trying to explain to me how cricket works, and I was just like, "Look, man, like this just isn't going to work."
It's difficult, yeah. It's difficult to understand,
but it's all right. What made you want to go from playing, and it sounds like you still do, to wanting to cover the sport and the journalism aspect? When did that happen?
I think about 4 or 5 years ago, I started college in Totton in Southampton, doing a media BTEC, and I just sort of like enjoy writing and I enjoy sports. So the two sort of came in hand, covering sports within writing and stuff. So, and I've always liked going out to games, even if I'm not going as a fan, I'd like to go as neutral and just tweeting out and social media and stuff. It's just come from that, really. And then when the chance came to apply for uni, where I'm doing in Gloucestershire now, doing sports journalism, chance came to do that. So that's been massive for me, and I'm really glad I did it.
Yeah. There is another Saints fan, at least one, who attends the same uni as you, and he takes photos for a different team that I think than you cover.
Yeah.
But Harry Holder is there, and when he saw you were going to be on the team, he looked at your profile and was like, "Hey, like that guy goes to the same uni as me," and I have no idea how big the university is, so it could be like I'm guessing it's not Ohio State or Michigan, so it's probably not that big. But
No, it's not. I think there's 35 on my course, but there's obviously 2 other years as well.
so I mean, as you were kind of growing up and been watching Saints for all those years, kind of switching back to the fan aspect. I mean, do you have any memorable moments or players that you specifically kind of remember that stick out to you that that you've seen?
Yeah, I think the big one for me is Ricky Lambert. He joined from Bristol Rovers, I think, when we were in League One, and he was a talisman, which ultimately I think got us back to the Premier League. Because without him, I think we'd still be struggling in the lower leagues. And the game that stood out, I think probably it's a tough one, but it was the opening day of the season when we got promoted. I think it was against Leeds. You may remember it. I think we won 3-0 on the day. It was a late kick-off. Lambert was a big part of that, and it's a big game on the day, and that's the one that stands out. But more recently, I think the one for me which sticks out is the 3-2 against Liverpool. I think we were 2-0 down at half time, and Sadio Mane, Victor Wanyama came on at half time. Mane then missed a penalty, and then I think Graziano Pella got 1, Mane got 2 right at the end, and I've never seen St Mary's like that ever. Like the scenes in the obviously against Liverpool as well. They'd taken quite a few players by that point, so that was quite a big one for me.
I remember I was in a hotel at that moment, and I had to make a 6-hour drive home, and I had gotten up to watch the match, and I remember going like at halftime, like, do I just go home? Like, do I just start driving now? And I remember sticking around, and then we missed the penalty. I was like, oh, I should just really go. Like, and then I decided, I stuck around, and I had some colleagues that were in the room next door, and they basically started beating on the door between the rooms and being like, what's going on in there? As I went from super angry to like more and more ecstatic to, basically just short of trashing the room as a full grown sober adult. Because we were winning, and it was pretty fantastic. So
I think as well, they had a goal disallowed just before half time, and it wasn't given until I think it was Dusan Tadic went out to the linesman. If that had been given, then I think we wouldn't have come back as we did. So that was quite a massive part of that game as well, I think, if you remember that.
I don't remember that part.
No.
If I'm completely honest. But yeah, it's I do remember different aspects of that game, and the replays have been showing up recently too, which is good. And I'll be completely honest, I really do still enjoy watching Mane play. I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
I'm not super happy about Liverpool being top of the table right now, but my favorite player is James Milner, and so he's on the team, so he's been playing recently. So it's hard to hate on them other than just because I have to almost, but I can force myself to do it. It's okay.
Yeah, he can play anyway, can't he? He's so versatile, so he's very good.
All right, well let's get into yesterday's match, I guess, and I mean, obviously that first match against Cardiff under Hasenhüttl, we would have hoped that we would have won. It didn't work out. And I remember looking back at the December schedule and just thinking like we were not going to pick up any points unless we got something against Cardiff and Huddersfield. We were going to be done. And somehow we've managed to, not pick up anything against Cardiff. But the last 2 performances have been, I think, really, really impressive. But the lineup has been the exact same against Arsenal at home and against Huddersfield away. And I was a little bit worried. I didn't think we were going to go with a back 3 or a back 5 yesterday, but we wound up doing that. And what did you make of the lineup that Hasenhüttl set out yesterday?
Yeah, I was surprised. I've got to admit. I thought maybe I heard that Cedric and Lamina were back in training last week, so I thought that both of them would start. So to see Lamina on the bench came as quite a surprise, given how good he's been this season. But he did make a slight mistake last week, which led to a goal. But I think not changing a winning team, it makes sense. And I think us playing with like a back 3 or back 5 suits us better, because our fullbacks aren't necessarily the greatest at defending, particularly Valerie and Target. So to play a back 3 or back 5, it really helps us. And players like Nathan Redmond and Stuart Armstrong can sort of play where they want to a degree. And I think that really helped us yesterday. And I've got to be honest, Huddersfield do it pretty soon right now.
Yeah, they had a pretty bad day at the office, I guess you could say. But one thing I noticed is Valerie and Target, neither one of them did very well against Cardiff in a back 4. They got exposed quite frequently. And I'm not sure that I think everybody would kind of agree with this at this point, that we have a bunch of center backs, but none of them are really standout performers. None of them really seem to have a really solid partnership with one another. So to give them kind of the extra protection of having the third center back and being able to kind of make up for maybe the lack of pace that we have back there, and also cover the fullbacks a little bit, I think that actually helps us a little bit more. And it'll be interesting to see if we do the same thing once Bertrand and Cedric come back. And, I will be honest that I think Valerie still has the potential to be a fantastic player. And I think he's got some real good qualities. I think he played that ball down the channel kind of for Redmond yesterday for Obafemi's goal. But, he's been subbed off now twice in 3 matches. And that's something that worries me a little bit.
I think yesterday's was, I think he picked up a yellow card quite early on. That's part of the reason to yesterday's. But Jack Stevens came on. He's relatively experienced now. And I think when Bertrand and Cedric do return to the team, I think I can't see us changing back to a back 4, because both of them are good, probably better defenders, but they're both good going forward. So I think that we've got to keep the team. Obviously, in January, I'm pretty sure we lose Yoshida to the Asia Cup. I think that would just mean that Jack Stevens will slot in to that position. But yeah, things are looking very positive now.
Yeah, I wonder who will go into the middle of that back 3, because I think Yoshida's been playing there for the most part. I wonder if Bednarak slides over, or Steve. I'm not sure who fits in there a little better, I guess, or best. Or maybe Vestergaard slides in the middle and Hoot comes back, but he wasn't even on the bench yesterday, so who knows?
Hoyt, I don't think we've seen Hoyt for a while, to be honest. He's been pretty poor for a while. Even at Fulham, he was just so poor, and I don't think we'll be seeing him for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one who kept getting time under Mark Hughes. That he was really the only player who you could guarantee. I guess him and Redmond were the only players you can guarantee would be in the lineup. And now it seems to have completely switched. And Hassan Hoodle has basically said, like, no, you're not doing it. So we will see. I think Højbjerg is out for the next match.
He is. Yeah.
So I think it's pretty easy swap. I mean, you see Lamina coming in. Romeu's going to play. Romeu, though, is also 1 card away from and we're going to have to rotate at some point through this couple of matches, because at least we play West Ham first, I think, because that's a game that we can hopefully get something from. And Man City slipping up a little bit, but to expect to pick up points against them, I don't know. So we'll have to see kind of how the rotation works, because the guys are doing a lot of running and they're expending a lot of effort. It's a lot more sprints. I mean, it's all the stuff that we've seen and said about Hassan Hoodle's kind of game, but they look really good doing it, though. Yeah,
I'd expect there to be quite a few changes in the next few weeks, or next few games. Sorry, obviously we haven't got Højbjerg for the West Ham game, but obviously, like I said, Lamina will slot straight back in. If Murray does pick up his yellow card in the City game, and Højbjerg will slot straight back in. So it's good. It was a good job they both didn't get booked yesterday. Otherwise, we'd have a bit of a problem, because I don't know what we'd do there. Because the likes of Ward-Prowse and Davis weren't even on the bench yesterday, so you don't know what their futures are like. But yeah, there'll be a lot of rotation. I think a few players will definitely play most games, or every game in this period. I think McCarthy, I can't see Gunn getting in. I think Redmond and Danny Ings will be the other 2 players, which won't miss many minutes at all across this period. But the others are all sort of suspect to rotation, I would expect.
I think the rotation, like you said, is necessary just because of the effort they're going to be putting in and how fast the games are coming. So kind of nothing surprising there. But one thing I wanted to ask you about before we kind of get into the rest of the game is what did you make of having another youth player on the bench, and then of course we'll talk about Obafemi coming in instead of Austin off the bench, but Kane Ramsey yesterday was on the bench as an under 18s player, even so, not even the under 23 squad.
Kane was quite a big surprise to me. I knew he was, but he's only recently started playing with the under 23s, and that's happened since Valerie's been playing for the first team.
Okay.
So to see him come in ahead of certain players, for me, suggests that he's massively dependent on youth. This manager, he's going to give them a go. He's been at their matches and stuff, and if they're good enough, they're going to play. And like you said, Obafemi playing ahead of Austin, that just shows to me that I think Austin's a good option off the bench, but he's not going to get that many minutes. And even like yesterday, I think it was Gabardini wasn't even on the bench, so I wouldn't be massively surprised if he was to lead in January, maybe go back to Italy or something.
I think one thing that having the youth player in the team does is it shows the youth players like, hey, you have a chance to come and play if you perform well. But also it shows the senior squad like, hey, we will give these guys a shot if you're not getting it done. And there is not necessarily pressure, but there is a little bit of competition there, not just from the guys you're looking at each and every day that are in the first team squad, but that there are other people here who can come and play football just like you can, and they're going to give you a kind of a run for your spot. And I think that I think if it's done in the right way and it's brought forth in the right way, that it will actually encourage and help the first team players kind of continue to push themselves and progress and work to get a little bit better and not make everybody, I guess, just so comfortable.
Yeah, it's refreshing to see. It's not been something which has happened under many of the previous managers who seem to sort of almost not really care about the youth team. I think he went to a few games, but he didn't, like Bednarak didn't get many chances under Hughes. You wouldn't have seen the likes of Johnson. Obafemi did play, but likes of Johnson and Valerie, I don't think they would have had that many opportunities under Hughes. So it's refreshing to see Arsenal give the youth players a chance, and it gives the senior players like something to work on, because many of them know they were going to play most games. But now under the new manager, they know that there's pressure, and they.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump into the into the match. Obviously, the game ends with us picking up 3 points and having what I would say is a fairly dominant display. But early on, the game looked to be pretty physical. There were a couple of fouls that went in and were given for and against us. But I don't know. I mean, were there many moments in the first half that stuck out to you in terms of how the game started to play out? Were you worried at all by Huddersfield or what they brought? And I would say the one thing for me was the fact that they have a lot of pace, but almost no quality in the final third. So it seemed like they kept getting in behind Vestergaard a little bit, giving us some trouble there. But they couldn't turn that into a goal. It didn't seem like. Yeah,
they started relatively well in the first sort of 10 minutes, but I wasn't really ever particularly worried by Huddersfield. I don't think out of the two strikers, Potter and Mooney, neither of them have scored this season, so I wasn't particularly worried. And also their main player in attacking sense, Aaron Moy, is that injured, which was massive for us. I think we just knew we were going to win. I think we was dominant throughout, and even when they did get back into the game, I was relatively confident that we were going to get some out of the game. So yeah, it was a big boost for us that we could get back-to-back wins, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of running, not a ton of sustained possession, I would say, by either side. It wasn't anybody passing around the opposition box trying to find an opening. It was basically back and forth, which made it for an exciting game to watch, and something that I, sitting here at home, really kind of enjoyed. So, but yeah, I think them missing Aaron Moy, I think that's a huge problem for them, and also the fact that their strikers haven't scored this year, that's also an issue. But the fact that they don't have Aaron Moy in the middle of the park, the fact that they are really missing that playmaker is going to probably be kind of what undoes them for the season. So we'll have to see kind of how that goes.
So I watched them on TV a few weeks ago against, I think it was Wolves, and Aaron Moy got both goals, and you could see how important he was to them. His influence is massively missed, and for them, the sooner they get him back, the better, because they're going to struggle without him.
Yeah. There was one moment, I don't think we had scored yet, but Ings kind of picked the ball up on, it would be the far side of the field from where the TV cameras were, just kind of right on the edge of the area, and he played Target through, and Target managed to hit that cross that came off of the keeper, and we couldn't quite turn it in for anything, but that was, I think, I want to say maybe the first real chance that we had to get a shot on goal. And one of the things that you have to notice there, that's a big difference from before under Hughes and under Pellegrino and either under Puel, is the players that we had in the box. Valerie was in the box. He was actually hurt on the play because he was the closest player to the ball, but Redmond was in the box. Ings had gotten into the box. Everybody was up and pressing and looking for an opportunity, and that's a huge difference from previous management.
Yeah, that was a massive difference. Like getting the fullbacks that far forward, just that early on in the game, just wouldn't have happened under Hughes. And like you said, Valerie being so close to maybe niching in and getting a goal. that just wouldn't have happened. And I think it's really positive. And we scored 6 goals in 2 games, and I can only see that continuing this week, against West Ham.
God, I hope so. Because last time I saw West Ham play against us, it wasn't pretty, and I did not.
Was it a 3-0 away? Yeah. I went to that as well.
Yeah, that's to this point, that's the only game I've ever been to, and
right, yeah, not good.
No, it wasn't great. And I landed, less than 24 hours before that happened, like jet lagged and everything else, and then just to see that happen, no. And Arnautovic scored, I think, 2 of the 3, and all of them were right in front of us. It wasn't that great. Anyway, moving on from that because we don't need to do that.
Yeah.
But I think through the first 10 minutes, there was a lot of energy. And once again, I think that the pace of Huddersfield could have been an issue there, but it turned out that we kind of dealt with it pretty well, or their lack of quality kind of really was shown, and it was proven that they didn't quite have what it took, and we could get back and kind of recover from that. But I thought that one of the big things for us was the fact that when they made a mistake, we were able to capitalize on it. And that's such a turn from kind of what seemed to be happening to us earlier on in the season, where it seemed like every time we made a mistake, the other team capitalized on it. And now it seemed like, they would make a mistake, they would lose the ball in midfield, or they would, not cover a run properly. And we just made them pay for it, which was really, really nice to see us being that kind of ruthless and clinical. Yeah,
definitely. Like, we haven't been that clinical for quite a while. And, I think lots of stats been going around about us being like the 3rd most created chances in the league, behind City and Liverpool, which just shows that we are playing well at times, just not creating them. And like you say, at the start of the season, it just felt like any simple little mistake which players made, it was going to be a goal, and we just weren't getting that little bit of luck. But since Hassanetto's come in, I've really noticed a change of the luck coming in, and yeah, it's just been really good. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the season now, which is something I couldn't have said a few weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we do go ahead, 16th, 17th minute, some combination of Ings, Højbjerg, and Redmond kind of make this goal happen. Ings does well to bring the ball down, and I don't know if he's trying to play it to himself through the legs of the opponent, or if he actually is making a pass to Højbjerg. But Højbjerg then, it's funny because I've heard this goal described 2 separate ways on different highlights. One, the announcer was saying that the ball to Redmond wasn't ideal. It wasn't a very good ball, and he had to adjust his run. I've heard one guy say that Højbjerg's pass was inch perfect. So it doesn't matter. We wound up scoring. I thought Redmond made an intelligent run, and that finish that he had looked a lot like some of the training ground finishes we have, where you can kind of hear it hit the back of the net. You can hear the kind of metal kind of the net kind of make whatever noise that is, and it's just a kind of I don't know, it's a reassuring sound, and you knew as soon as it left his foot that there was no way that was being stopped, and he could tell, and just the excitement on his face. And I don't know, as somebody who's supported Redmond through like the last year and a half or whatever, I felt really good to watch him do that, and I don't think I could have wished a goal for anybody else in the team more so than him.
Yeah, I was delighted for him. Obviously, he hadn't scored prior to yesterday in the league, or at all, sorry. But since Hassanetto's come in, he's been a changed player. 2 assists and a goal in 2 games under him. And yeah, I was delighted for him. And you could tell he almost like a monk off the bat for him, having not scored. I think it was his first goal in like 59 games or something like that. So yeah, it was massive for him to get that, and hopefully he can kick on now and get some more goals and help us fire up the league a bit.
Yeah, I think the last time he scored, and I could be wrong, but the last time I remember him scoring was Everton away last season, where we wound up losing. I don't remember if we lost or I think we lost or we drew in the last kind of kick.
Yeah, it was a 1-1 draw, wasn't it? Yeah.
That stupid clearance from Bertrand. Anyway, I remember throwing stuff that match. It wasn't great.
Yeah, that's very striking.
One of the things that came out about Redmond scoring was that he had only scored in 8 matches for Saints overall, but we had never lost one of those. We had won 5 and drawn 3. So that I guess that goes back to the Everton game. I guess we drew there and we didn't lose. So my memory is not great. But I mean, Redmond, he just looked so good, and he still looks hungry. And I think the system that we're playing now suits him so much better than what we were doing before. And he just looks like he is a real threat to other teams. And I think this can only improve, and he will only kind of get more and more confident as time goes on. And you just hope that Hassan Hoodle can continue to push him and help him progress, like you said. So we're doing that. I mean, there were a couple of times during the first half that I think we were a bit lucky. We didn't play a perfect game yesterday. There were a couple of poor headed clearances. I think Højbjerg had one at one point. I think Vestergaard had one at one point that kind of led to chances, but Huddersfield's just lack of kind of composure in those key situations, and we kind of bailed us out a little bit. Yeah,
that's the right word, composure. Like most other teams in the league, if you give those chances and they put it away, and you're chasing the game again. But Huddersfield just haven't quite that clinical edge, and if they did, it would have been a much different story yesterday, I think.
I saw some people say that that we didn't deserve the lead yesterday, and I don't know what game they were watching, but I didn't think that there was any doubt that we were the better team. I found it a bit interesting that for the second game in a row, we had less of the ball than the other team. We had kind of given up possession, but I think we were, over the past few games, we can see that we are so much better with the possession that we have. We are so much more purposeful with what we are doing with the ball, that I think that accounts for a lot more than just having possession. And I'm sure we will have games where we just dominate the ball because we are that much better than the other team. But right now, I don't feel like that's the goal. I feel like the goal is to press and to force them into mistakes and to capitalize on those mistakes. And I thought that is suiting us much better than trying to pass it around the box and find an opening, because maybe that's not what we are good at this point.
Yeah, I think possession-wise, like a lot of the games early on in the season against the likes of Burnley, Brighton, Newcastle, we were having maybe like 60 or 70% possession and not really doing much with it, creating very few chances. But with the new way we're playing, we're not going to have as much as the ball as the other team, but we are going to create a huge amount of chances and, like you say, force people into mistakes. So the new way we're playing is just so much better. There's a clear game plan from start to finish, and everyone knows their role and everyone knows what the manager wants out of them.
I guess moving on to the second goal, the Ings penalty, not really any question in my mind what was happening. They made a mistake, and he's clearly tripped. I do love that the Huddersfield player points at the ball that's rolling away, that as if he got a piece of it. He was about 3 yards from it, I think. So I don't know. You got to do whatever you can in that situation. I don't really blame him. But I mean, what did you make of the way Ings? I mean, obviously he's on penalties. He earns the penalty. He's going to take it. Was there any doubt in your mind that he was going to put it away?
Oh yeah, I was very confident that he put it away. I think he scored before that. He'd scored 2 out of 2, so I had every belief that he'd put it away. He scored 2 last week. He's full of confidence. He's back in the team, back in the goals, and it's only a positive for us moving forward. It was
such a calm kind of, I don't know. I can't do that on FIFA, let alone in real life when it actually matters. So I don't know. So obviously we go into halftime. We talked about the possession kind of being in Huddersfield's favor, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. In that time, they had almost 20% more possession than us. We had more attempts. We had more attempts on target. So like we said, we were being much better with the ball than they were. And that was good. I want to say the second half kind of, the beginning kind of lacked the intensity I think that the first half had. And I think that's kind of to be expected. I think that just is what happens in some of these games. And the first real thing that I remember was that kind of reaction save from McCarthy, where I think this is where we had the kind of missed header from Højbjerg. It kind of went up in the air twice, and then comes off a Huddersfield player, and McCarthy does just enough to kind of push it out to his right and around the post. And at this point I tweeted, Alex McCarthy, thank you. Saints fans everywhere. And then almost immediately, Huddersfield score. And somebody just underneath that says, Alex McCarthy, do better. Saints fans everywhere. And I was just like, yep, that tweet did not age well, and that's okay. But I thought McCarthy did well there. But I don't know what happens on the Huddersfield goal, other than the fact that that's maybe the one time we didn't close the ball down quick enough. I think everybody backed off for a second, and by the time we went to kind of close it down. All we did was unsight McCarthy, and the ball goes in.
Yeah, I think he made throughout the game. He made quite a few key saves, which kept us in it at times. But I think the goal, I've seen people give him a bit of criticism, but I think he was a little bit unsighted and didn't expect the ball to move. It moved a little bit and didn't expect him to go the way it did. So you've got to criticise him a little bit, but it's a bit harsh to blame him for that, because I don't think he could really see what was in front of him, like in terms of the players in his way, sort of thing. So I think it would be harsh to blame him for that goal. But yeah, he did well overall.
I want to say that there are a few people who want to see Angus Gunn be given a shot.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I'm there yet. Like, I think Angus Gunn is great, and I don't think you bring him into the team or into the squad with the idea that he's only going to play cup games for the next 4 years. I think he's going to get much more time but he clearly is the second choice keeper at this point, and I think that's where he needs to stay. I mean, McCarthy has just been called up to the England squad now, the past couple of camps or breaks, whatever you want to say, and Gunn is also getting called up, but it's not to the senior squad. So I think there's some time for Gunn to grow, and I think he will continue to push McCarthy. And if McCarthy has a bad run of form, I'd have no problem with Gunn coming in. But right now, I'm not sure that even a lot of the goals that we've been conceding were necessarily McCarthy's fault.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's the right decision to play McCarthy in goal at the moment. Gunn's obviously a clear, really good talent. He was at Norwich last season. I watched a fair bit of him on TV and stuff, and he looked really positive. But I just think McCarthy has not done anything wrong as of yet, massively, which can mean you take him out of the team. And also, since he's come into the team, we've been a lot better. Obviously, we had Forster in goal before that. It's about a year ago, I think it was a Man United game in December last year, 30th December, something like that. But yeah, Gunn's got, I think we offered him a 4-year contract, but he's got to wait his time, and the time, if we get an injury to McCarthy or whatever, he'll have his chance, and I think he's just got to be patient with his chance, and it will come eventually.
Yeah. I'm having flashbacks to last year against on Boxing Day against Tottenham. It's just not anything I want to think about again.
I was at that game.
I'm really hoping that West Ham doesn't go that way, but we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully not.
I don't know, and I think maybe the next thing that stands out is Ings comes off, and I know one of the group chats I'm in, everybody was like, "Why is Ings coming off?" But
yeah,
he's obviously being required to do a lot of running, a lot of pressing. I'm going to worry about his injury record. I'm going to worry about his body breaking down. He had gotten a goal. He had led the line well. Him coming off at 60 minutes. Granted, at this point it's 2-1, but okay. And I think the interesting thing is I was fully expecting Austin to be his replacement, or maybe Long, but it's Obafemi that comes on. And to you, what does that say to you? How do you feel about that as in that situation?
Yeah, I think Obafemi suits the style of the new manager better than, maybe not Long, but better than Austin, definitely. And Ings coming off wasn't a massive surprise, given his injury record, like you say, and he's only been out, he was out for a month roughly, but we've got a manager's game time and have him available to play every game, so I think it's good management from us usually.
I think one of the reasons may be that, I think Long has possibly hit his ceiling. He's shown everything that he can do, and Austin, we know the type of player he is. But Obafemi, I think, has a lot of room for improvement. Obviously, we talked about composure earlier on the Huddersfield side. There was that moment where he was through, and he probably should have put it away.
He should have.
And he's done that now a couple of times, and so it's a little bit worrying because in some situations, how many chances are you going to get, and how big are some of those misses going to be? But yesterday, he was able to kind of atone for it, because before I was even done writing the tweet about him going wide, Redmond was played in by Valerie. Redmond does well to press the ball, and that's another instance where we see what the pressure can do. And a lot of times, I think the idea would have been that the ball goes through, the defender gets in front of him, and everybody kind of stops running, and the ball goes out of play. It's a goal kick for Huddersfield, and that's it. But the pressure from Redmond forced, I think it was Schindler to make a mistake. And I mean, Schindler honestly should have been able to hold Redmond off and just see the ball out of bounds. That's basic defending. But I think the pressure from Redmond forced him to take a touch, and once he takes a touch, he's got to clear it. He tries to do that. Redmond nicks it away from him, and then Obafemi does well to kind of just find himself in space, kind of drop back instead of going directly across goal where there were bodies, and then does enough to kind of put it in the far corner. And I mean, the joy on his face was fantastic, and it's I don't know, it's really nice to see the players enjoy the football. The players enjoy the way they are playing, and to enjoy their own kind of little moments of success, because it hasn't been that way in the last, I would say, several seasons.
Yeah, much like Redmond, I was pleased for Obafemi to like get off the mark. Obviously, his first Premier League goal for us. The youngest player to actually do that for us. The youngest player to score in the Premier League. But yeah, the players just look a lot more. Whenever they score, they go mad rather than they celebrate. They look so happy. This just wasn't something that was happening when we were under Hughes. They're like, oh yeah, it's another goal. It wasn't much of a celebration. Whereas now they all look quite like close knit as well. Like Redmond, Obafemi both seem to. I think Redmond's been mentoring Obafemi quite a bit as well lately. So obviously both of them. Redmond making his goal was obviously massive, and yeah, things look a lot more better with those two in the team playing together.
Absolutely. This is the first time we've had back-to-back wins in over a year and a half.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Hasenhüttl in 3 games has won 2 of them. Mark Hughes, I think in 22, won 3. So, I mean, I'm not here to bash people. I'm sure people are doing the best they can, but the difference is so clear. And I'll be honest that at some point I was starting to worry. We saw the way we played under Puel. We saw the way we played under Pellegrino. We saw the way we played under Hughes. And it's like these are 3 managers in a row that have looked at our squad and set them up in a certain way. And I was starting to kind of fall into the camp of maybe the players just aren't good enough. Maybe this is the best we can do. And I have no idea why or what Hasenhüttl saw in the squad that he said, no, we can do it this way, and we're going to do it this way, and this is what you have to do. So I have no idea how he made them believe they can do it after the last 3 kind of seemed to fail. But whatever it is, man, I'll take it, because this has just been such a breath of fresh air to the players and to the fans. I mean, the atmosphere at St. Mary's, you mentioned it earlier, last week was so good against Arsenal that it kind of overshadowed and kind of what the Arsenal fans were able to do. And then yesterday as well, you could hear the away fans, which is pretty standard for us, but you could hear the away fans all day. And then I don't know if you saw on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, after the game, Hasenhüttl comes over to the away fans and they are singing to him. And he, I mean, that's what I want to see. And that didn't happen for Mark Hughes. That didn't happen for Pellegrino. That didn't happen for Puel. And I don't know, it's just a huge kind of lift, I think, to everyone involved.
Yeah, I was at Cardiff as well. Obviously, we lost that game, but he came out after the game, he came out to fans and was like giving us appreciation, and that just didn't happen under Hughes. And he's got more out of them in like 2 weeks than any of the previous 3 managers got out in their spells at the club. So it's just massive, and his reputation's growing. And if we're not, the problem I've got is if we do continue to do well, we could end up actually losing him, but hopefully we don't.
I don't know. It's one of those things I think we're always going to deal with. It's people talk about players like, Bale's gone, Lallana's gone, Van Dijk's gone, Mane's gone. I don't know. You could be Huddersfield instead, right? Yeah, like your best player could be Aaron Moy, and then a bunch of people that nobody's ever heard of, and you could suffer through and only have 3 goals at home over the past however long or whatever. And it's just nice to. Like, I will take those players for a year or 2 at a time. I'll take those managers for a year or 2 at a time. And I'm just going to try to enjoy it. And I'm sure when he leaves, I will be pissed and this will completely change and you can throw this back in my face at that point. But like right now, I just want to enjoy it. And, I don't know. I think when we were told, I think the club was told by several people, you don't even try to sign him as a manager because you won't get him because he's too good for you. And I think the fact that we went out and made it happen, maybe he is, and maybe it'll prove to be that way over time. But I'm okay with it for now.
Yeah, it should be fine for a while. To be honest, like a lot of the major clubs in England have got, other than United, perhaps have got long-term managers. So I think we'll be fine for a while, and it would take something quite special for us to lose him. I would say at this current point. Yeah.
Like you said, if there were places that were missing big time managers or hadn't made new managerial signings, I would worry. God, I hope. Maybe United will just stick with the guy they brought in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird club. I think as long as you have Sir Alex Ferguson still kind of ruling from behind the curtain, I think it's going to be difficult for them or for any manager to kind of do what they want. But they looked pretty damn good yesterday too, from what I saw in the highlights.
Good. Yeah, good result for us as well.
Yeah,
very good result for us.
All right, let's jump into some questions because I know we're running a little bit short on time. So patrons get priority for having their questions answered. So if anybody out there is interested in doing that, you can do that by signing up at patreon.com/SFC delivery. But we will answer questions from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. We didn't get a lot, which is normally not the case after a big win, but who knows? It's all kind of weird and I don't know what to say. So we have some from Patreon, so we'll go ahead and do that. Rob Clements, he says, who do you think is our best player in terms of their contribution to the game? Referring to yesterday, not necessarily goals or assists, but the overall presence in the team and their importance. So maybe he's not just talking about yesterday, just overall, but like looking around at the team, who do you think maybe is one of those key players for us in this new system?
For me, it's Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. He's been impressive all season, and he's continued that since the new manager's come in. Unfortunately, he got his 5th yellow card, so I mean, he missed the West Ham game, but I think he's played under like Guardiola at Bayern Munich, and he's played a relatively similar sort of way, so I think he's going to be massive under Hassan Hussel, and we got, as long as we can keep him fit and keep him happy, then he's going to be massive. Like I saw his pass today for the first goal for Redmond, who will also be a key player. I think overall Højbjerg will be the most important player in terms of this team and their importance going forward.
I mean, you look at how young he is. You look at how much kind of the leadership quality he possesses already. It's really is impressive on his part. And I don't know, one of those things you worry about is in the system we only really have 2 midfielders playing. It requires a lot of him in terms of organization and in terms of effort and energy, and he seems to be able to do it all. So I would have to agree with you that I think he is one of the most important players for us. But moving on to a question from
taking the captaincy as well.
Absolutely. But by the way, next week, do you think it goes to Ings? Do you think it goes to Yoshida? Depending on the system we play, or who do you think captains the team next week with him?
Yeah, I think it could be Yoshida as long as he plays. But if Bertrand is back, it'll be Bertrand. But I'm fairly confident it'll be Yoshida because he's done it before in the past, and he's quite a big leader in the team. And I give it to Yoshida. Yeah.
I mean, because you don't see or foresee Hassan Hussel bringing Davis back in, right, to have him play alongside Romeu. That's not going to happen. Because
it'll be Lamina Romeu, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. All right. Kevin McKee, another Patreon, says, do you think Gabby Adini will have much of a future at Saints?
No, I don't think so. You saw yesterday, he wasn't even on the bench. He's been struggling for minutes since Hughes just got, well, even when Hughes was there, he struggled for minutes. I think if you got the likes of Obafemi and Austin ahead of him on the bench, I can't see him lasting much beyond January. And I'd be shocked if he was still at the club in January because he offers a lot, but none of the managers that we've ever had seem to have gotten all out of him. And even the new manager, his sort of style of play doesn't really suit that compared to the other strikers we've got. So I don't think he has much of a future at the club, unfortunately, as much as I do like him as a player.
Now, did you see him in the away end yesterday at the ground? Did you see this picture?
Was he in the away end, was he?
I don't think so, but it's a guy that looks a lot like him. And so I screenshot. I just put it in the outline. I don't know if you're still on it, but check down underneath the questions.
Oh yeah, that's my name. Looks like him. Yeah.
I was on the Saints website just watching the highlights before I went to bed last night, and like I just for a brief second it flashed on and was like, I have to take a shot at this. And then I tweeted it, and I felt really bad because somebody was like, "Yeah, more players should do that." I'm like, I don't know. I don't actually know if it's him. Like, I don't think it's him.
I saw on Friday night, Liverpool's Trent Alexander-Arnold was in the away end at Wolves, and it's good to see. But I don't think many of our players seem to do it. But it'd be good to see in the future if they're injured and get in the away end. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it was Tyler Dune who hosts a Man United podcast, and he's another guy from America, runs a big kind of radio production. He had some ideas about players who did it. So, I don't think it's him, but I think it's pretty good. I think if he's got a future at the club, it's probably in the away end with the fans. So, maybe he can get that season ticket sorted out as some sort of when he signs his.
We'll always be thankful though for that goal at Swansea, won't we?
Absolutely, and that was the most Gabby Adini of goals. You know, like I'm going to fall down and look atrocious while we're doing it, but it's going to go in. and it means a lot. Just it was a hugely significant goal.
His performance at Wembley as well.
Oh, absolutely. He was. Obviously, he just started off on such a high. There was no way that was ever going to continue. But I remember really enjoying that. And then I remember watching the game so I watched the EFL Cup final at a specific bar in LA because I was on my way to work. I was on my way back from a work trip, actually the same one. So there's a destination in Southern California that I have to go to every single year. We tend to always play on that Sunday, which is fine, which means it's the day I have to drive back. But the one time I was talking about the Liverpool game earlier, I happened to be at the same bar that I was watching the EFL Cup final at when we played Tottenham when he got hurt. And that was kind of the last we ever saw of him being really, really good. And it's unfortunate. So I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah. Anyway, it all means nothing, but it's just the way I remember things, I guess. So AJ Reardon is also a patron. Everybody asks on Twitter. He says, how much of these results can be attributed to the new manager bounce and how much to actual lasting fundamental change? I'm ecstatic at the results, but I'm worried about the other shoe dropping. So kind of a big question to end on, but what do you make of that?
I think it is a bit of a manager bounce, obviously. Obviously, he's had a bit of quite a massive impact since he's come in, but I think it will be a lasting thing and something which will continue. Obviously, we're not going to win every game, but I can see us picking up the needed points to stay well clear of relegation. And I won't be worried about us. We're going to lose games. Everyone does, but I think we'll be fine. And his management skills and the players are buying into that now, and it's going to be massive for us. And I can see us being easily saved come the end of the season.
Now, I guess the one question I have about that is when we eventually do lose games, because like you said, it will happen and it's totally expected and normal and everything else. But when we maybe hit a bad run of form and there's so much being asked of the players in terms of their effort levels and their energy levels, when we lose games, do you think, it's all speculation, but do you think Hasenhüttl can continue to motivate the players and get them to put it forth that level of effort if we hit a bad stretch? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely can, because he came into the club when we won one game, and I think it was 15 games. So I think he can if say we lose 2, 3, 4 in a row, I think, hopefully that doesn't happen, but I think he can change it around. He's got the managerial qualities and he's got the desire and passion to get the players back playing and getting results again. So I think we haven't got anything to worry about with him not being able to get the players back if we do go on a bad run of results.
All right. Well, I think that mostly does it, except for I would like to ask you just kind of one off-topic question before we go. I explained to you my family has this weird kind of midnight thing that we've done my entire life, and it's as a kid, it's one of the things that I enjoyed the most about Christmas. As an adult, it's one of the things that stresses me out the most because my kids are a-holes basically if they don't get sleep, and so am I. But you guys have any weird kind of family traditions that you do around the holidays?
Quite often, it's not weird, but we quite often just go to either side of the family. So normally one side on Boxing Day, one side maybe in New Year. But this year, I think we're going to Boxing Day. We're going up Boxing Day to my family, which wouldn't have probably happened this end to playing, but they aren't. So yeah, that's what happens. But other than that, it's pretty standard, really. Just at home at Christmas usually. Nothing out there really.
Okay, all right. And if you had to think about the Saints squad, if you were going to have to buy a present for one of the players, if you had to buy one player new boots and specifically shooting boots, who on the team would you give that to?
Tough one. Probably not necessarily shooting boots, but for defending wise, I'd buy Hoyt some new defending, have him defend better.
Yeah, we need to buy some guys some PF flyers, I think, so they can run faster and jump higher and do all of those things. But yeah, I think I don't know. I am so much on a high from the past performances and everything going into Christmas. I feel so much different than I did last year under Pellegrino. That this is going to be great. So Tom, I want to thank you again for joining me. People can find you on Twitter and Instagram. The links to those are in the show notes, and your writing over at Read Southampton. I didn't really ask you about that earlier, but they can get your writing there. And you also cover what is the team that you cover that is, I guess it's a more local team, right?
Yeah. So at uni, I've got an opportunity to cover Yate Town, which play in the same league as AFC Tottenham in Southampton. It's a Southern League Division 1, South and West. I cover them for a local newspaper up there. I just go to their games whenever I can, mainly obviously their home games when I'm at uni. But yeah, I follow them and report on them and interview their players and do match reports and stuff for them. So that's pretty cool. And then leading on to my Southampton stuff, I've been doing that for probably, I think it's about 3 years now. Okay. Mainly match previews, player ratings, match reviews, obviously news articles as well. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's what I do really.
All right, man. Well, continue the good work, and you're always welcome back on the show if you're interested. So
yeah, I will be. I'll be back in touch.
Absolutely, man. All right. Well, you have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays
Merry Christmas to you and everyone else.
Yeah, man. Have a good one. That does it for episode 102 of the Southampton Delivery Podcast. And whether you're listening on Christmas Day or Boxing Day or New Year's Day or January 27th, 2038, I hope you're having a good time. And thank you for joining us. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Special thanks this week goes out to Tom Mason for joining me around a busy time of year, taking some time away from his family so that I can spend more time with mine. I really do appreciate that. If you want to get some more writing from Tom, you can do that at Tom_Mason18 on Twitter or at TMaso19 on Instagram. If you're looking for Saints-specific stuff, once again, follow along at Read Southampton, which is where the majority of his Saints writing shows up. Special thanks goes out this week again to Matt Beeling of the We Are Southampton page on Instagram. Matt does the logo for the show. He was a guest on episode 100 where he announced that he will now be working for the Southampton Football Club in the graphics and media department. So congratulations to Matt on starting your new job in just a couple of days. Congratulations again. Our partner page is the Southampton page on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And as always, they do a great job of providing you with news and everything else related to the club. So follow along there for analysis, match updates, transfer news, and other things like that. They will keep you up to date and informed to the best of their ability over the Christmas period or not. If you haven't done so already, you can follow the show on Twitter or Instagram at SFCDELL_IVERY. Those are probably the easiest two ways to get a hold of me. You can also follow along at Facebook.com/SFCDelivery. There is no underscore in the Facebook address. And the show now has a Patreon page for those of you who feel like supporting it in some way. It's not obligatory, so please don't feel like you have to do it, but you do get some extras, including access to a private chat with just me and the other Patreons. You have priority for getting your questions answered on the show. And if you subscribe at the $5 a month level, you get one extra show per month. And I hope that you will enjoy that. And if not, no worries. Just thanks for listening. I really do appreciate that. If you are enjoying the show, though, please consider leaving a review on iTunes. And if you haven't done so already, please share the show with somebody else and make sure that you have subscribed so you do not miss future episodes. The first episode of the new year has already been recorded, so I will be taking a few days off. There will be no match updates. In that one, we won't talk about some of the things coming up there, but this will be some time for me to spend with my family, and I hope that you understand that, but you will have a show next week, so do not worry. So I think that does it. And for 2018, this is it. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I appreciate all your support. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, Happy Boxing Day. I don't know if that's a thing, but anyway, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time. And until then, remember that together, we march on.